Let's now look at the zoom and pan functionality in a practical application. We have the video here, and I'm actually going to add one more clip to this. I'm going to go back to my clip bin, and I'm going to take that PowerPoint image that we have used before, and I'm going to bring it back onto my timeline. And again, we have it sitting right in the middle. Camtasia is actually really good at positioning your images you bring in right centered. And I want this to sit a little further out here. Maybe about here would be a good spot for me. And I'm just gonna position it here. I don't want it too large right now. And I have a whole segment here where I'm talking about PowerPoint. And it goes, I believe, right to about here. We'll position it right here. And it just talks a little bit about PowerPoint. So now we have the ability to apply some zoom and pan functionality to this. And I'm just going to go to the beginning of it. And I went back into my zoom and pan tab so we can see our preview right here. And I have different opportunities here. I can either change my scale, which I find personally a little bit hard to apply. I'm just going to undo this because, as you can see, I have already transitions applied to this here. There we go. And I'm just going to start from about here. There we go. Let's just apply some zoom right here. And all I need to do is I'm keeping it in proportion. And I'm just going to zoom it in far enough that I'm out of the picture, but that PowerPoint logo is nicely in the picture. And I'm just going to pan a little bit down as well. And as we look at our preview now, that looks really reasonable. And I'm just going to drag this out a little bit. And I'm going to drag this here with it because we have two tracks. So we have twice the zoom functionality applied to it. So I'm just going to start here, and I'm just going to let this run for a moment.
Welcome to our PowerPoint presentation tips. PowerPoint can be your best friend in a presentation, or it can be your biggest enemy.
So that looks pretty good already. And as I'm getting towards the end of it, I would like to apply that same functionality just by zooming out. So I'm just going to make sure I have both of them highlighted again. And I'm just going to go and apply a second transition now for the zoom back to the full size. And I'm also going to make this a little bit longer. Sometimes if you do transitions that go very, very fast, they look quite choppy. Actually, let me just undo this for a second. I just want to show you how that looks if you do something very, very quick.
Be your biggest enemy. There's an old saying.
Did you see that just went very, very quick? So doing a transition so quick is really distracting to the viewer. So I want this to be more subtle and much smoother. So I'm just going to drag this out here, and I'm just going to bring this to about the same point here. And let's look at that same transition again.
Be your biggest enemy. There's an old saying, friends don't let friends use PowerPoint. How many?
There we go. And now we have applied a very smooth transition. We have build a transition in. We're starting all zoomed out, and then as we go in, we're zooming all the way in, and then we stay on focus on that logo for a little while, and then we're building a second transition that zooms it very smoothly back out. And at the end of that clip, about right here, we're back to where we started, where everything is nicely zoomed out and we're back on the regular image. So applying a zoom and pan functionality like that allows you to do that very smoothly. Now, if I wanted to, I could have also applied a third transition. My clip is a little short for that, where I could have just panned over from the logo onto my head and back, but that really was not necessary because it's a fairly short clip. So that gives you an overview of how you can use that zoom and pan functionality. It adds a lot of dimension, it adds a lot of movement and a lot of fun to your videos. And there's a lot of things you can do with it. Start experimenting a little bit with it. Start with something basic and then have some fun with it. As you become more familiar with it, it becomes more natural to use it as well.